Have you ever wondered why the most ruthless, manipulative people often seem to come out on top? Why it's often those who bend the rules, wield power without remorse, or simply put themselves first who rise to success, while honest, hard-working people get left behind? It's a question that nags at us all, stirring a mix of frustration and confusion. Is this just a cruel coincidence? Or is there a deeper logic at play beneath the surface of society? This isn't merely about bad luck or isolated cases of injustice. Throughout history, the winners often seem to be those who master the art of power in its rawest form. From cunning politicians and cutthroat business leaders to infamous historical figures, a pattern emerges. A pattern that challenges our assumptions about fairness, morality, and what it really takes to succeed. In this exploration, we'll delve into the heart of power, drawing from psychology to understand the human mind's dark tendencies, and from history to see power's relentless march across centuries. And perhaps most provocatively, we'll turn to the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, a thinker who dared to confront the uncomfortable truth about strength, weakness, and the nature of influence. Join me on this journey to uncover why the world often seems to favor the worst among us, what that reveals about human nature, and what it might mean for the rest of us striving to find our place in the game. This is a story about power and the shadow it casts on us all. The cold reality of power. From the very beginning, life has been a relentless struggle, where fairness was a luxury rarely afforded. Survival demanded efficiency, not kindness. In the unforgiving dance of existence, those who thrived were not the gentle-hearted, but the strategic, the ruthless, and the decisive. Compassion often came second to the cold calculus of power. Our brains, forged by millennia of harsh competition, didn't evolve to make us moralists. Instead, they wired us to seek advantage, to compete, to seize resources, to influence others, and ultimately, to secure status. Morality, while cherished in stories and ideals, often played second fiddle to survival instincts and dominance strategies. The neural pathways rewarded success, even if it came at the expense of others. History offers countless examples of this brutal truth. The Roman Empire didn't rise through polite negotiations and handshakes. It was built on the backs of disciplined legions and unyielding conquests. Alexander the Great didn't spread culture through kindness. He carved his empire with relentless military campaigns, crushing opponents who stood in his way. These leaders understood that power favored those who acted swiftly and without hesitation, who embraced decisive action over moral contemplation. This pattern continues in modern times. Corporate giants don't achieve dominance by playing nice or waiting for consensus. They leverage strategy, often aggressive and unapologetic, to outmaneuver competitors and capture markets. In boardrooms and battlefields alike, hesitation is weakness, and power is awarded to those who take the boldest moves. The stark reality is that power rewards ruthlessness. Decisiveness often trumps ethics. But this ruthless climb to the top carries a hidden cost, one that many fail to anticipate until it is too late. Why ruthlessness can seem like an advantage. In highly competitive environments, ruthlessness often appears as a strategic advantage. It's not about cruelty for cruelty's sake, but rather a cold, calculated willingness to make hard decisions quickly and without moral hesitation. This decisive edge allows certain individuals to dominate when others hesitate, bogged down by doubt or ethical concerns. True power players combine ambition with a pragmatic mindset. They possess a high level of ambition that drives them relentlessly toward their goals. Yet, Unlike the caricature of a ruthless villain, they display selective empathy. They know when to care and when to withhold it, using emotional intelligence as a tool rather than a constraint. This balance enables them to maneuver through complex social and business landscapes effectively. Another hallmark of these individuals is their courage to take risks. Where many see danger and retreat, the ruthlessly ambitious see opportunity and act. This fearlessness often stems from a psychological makeup that uses fear not as a paralyzing force, but as fuel. Instead of freezing in moments of pressure, they harness the adrenaline and anxiety to sharpen their focus and accelerate action. Historical and contemporary figures such as Winston Churchill, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk embody these traits. Churchill's unyielding resolve during Britain's darkest hours, Bezos's relentless drive to reshape global commerce, and Musk's bold ventures into space and electric vehicles all exemplify a refusal to wait for permission or consensus. Their ruthlessness isn't mindless aggression, it's strategic impatience, a willingness to push boundaries and disrupt norms to achieve dominance. However, this approach has a double edge. Ruthless ambition can lead to great success, but it also carries the risk of blinding those who wield it. When the pursuit of power becomes singular and unyielding, it can erode empathy, alienate allies, and foster unsustainable practices. What happens when ruthless ambition blinds you? The very traits that drive dominance can become the seeds of downfall, raising the question, how do you balance ruthless efficiency with long-term wisdom? The paradox of power. Rise and fall power is a double-edged sword. The very qualities that propel individuals to rapid success, ambition, decisiveness, and boldness, can also sow the seeds of their eventual downfall. This paradox lies at the heart of many historical and contemporary stories of power, where the climb to the top is often matched by an equally dramatic descent. Consider Napoleon Bonaparte, whose extraordinary military genius and political acumen enabled him to conquer much of Europe. Yet, his fatal overreach, most notably his ill-fated invasion of Russia, exemplifies how unchecked ambition can spiral into catastrophe. His relentless drive to expand power stretched his resources thin and alienated allies, ultimately leading to his exile and the collapse of his empire. Similarly, Adolf Hitler's rise was fueled by charismatic leadership and a ruthless vision, but his ideological blindness proved disastrous. His unwavering commitment to flawed, extremist beliefs blinded him to reality, resulting in catastrophic military defeats and the eventual downfall of the Third Reich. Both men illustrate how the very traits that secure power, confidence, audacity, and vision, can transform into vulnerabilities when combined with hubris and isolation. In modern times, CEOs and politicians often suffer similar fates. Those who climb quickly may become disconnected from the realities of their organizations or constituencies. Ruthlessness, while initially effective, tends to breed enemies, disgruntled rivals, betrayed allies, or disillusioned followers, waiting patiently for a chance to strike. Power breeds paranoia. The burden of leadership demands constant vigilance. Being at the top is not only about command, but also about survival, as every decision can invite opposition or sabotage. The suspense is palpable. The ascent might be dazzlingly fast, but the fall is often brutal and unexpected. Whether through scandal, betrayal, or strategic missteps, the powerful are vulnerable. This precarious balance between success and failure, control and chaos, defines the paradox of power. Those who hold it must navigate not only the external threats, but the internal perils of overconfidence and isolation, lest their reign crumble as quickly as it rose. the illusion of justice, and the just world fallacy. Many people hold a comforting belief. The world is fundamentally fair, and good people will ultimately be rewarded for their virtues. This idea, known as the just world fallacy, reflects our deep desire to see the world as orderly and morally balanced. Psychologically, it helps us cope with uncertainty and injustice by assuming that everyone gets what they deserve. However, the reality is far less reassuring. Corrupt millionaires and powerful elites often thrive, while honest, hard-working individuals face systemic obstacles and hardships. Success and failure rarely align neatly with virtue or vice. Life's outcomes are influenced by a complex mix of luck, privilege, and structural inequalities that the just world belief conveniently overlooks. This illusion of justice has significant consequences. It can breed passivity, encouraging people to wait for karma or divine justice instead of taking proactive steps to improve their circumstances. Believing that fairness will naturally prevail may lead to inaction, reducing the likelihood of strategic, empowered decision-making. So, if fairness isn't guaranteed, how do you navigate this world? Nietzsche's radical view on morality and power. Friedrich Nietzsche's perspective on morality stands as one of the most provocative challenges to traditional ethical thought. Rather than viewing morality as a universal or inherently virtuous system, Nietzsche argues that morality is often a tool wielded by the weak to control the strong. This inversion of conventional wisdom shakes the foundations of how we think about good and evil, strength and weakness, power and submission. At the heart of Nietzsche's critique is the distinction between master morality and slave morality. Master morality originates from the strong, the powerful, and the creative. Masters do not accept pre-existing rules. Instead, they create values that reflect their will, their strength, and their vision of life. They shape their world according to their desires and ideals, unapologetically asserting their power and influence. In contrast, slave morality emerges from the position of weakness and subjugation. Those who lack power develop a morality rooted in obedience, humility, and submission. Slave morality exalts qualities like kindness, patience, and meekness, not because they are inherently superior, but because these values serve to restrain the strong and justify the slave's own existence. What Nietzsche emphasizes, however, is often misunderstood. His portrayal of master morality is not a call for blind cruelty or ruthless domination. Rather, it is about creative self-affirmation and self-mastery. The masters are not merely tyrants. They are individuals who assert their individuality and will through the creation of new values. This is a process of empowerment that involves strategic intelligence, courage, and above all, freedom. Freedom from externally imposed norms and values. Central to this vision is Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, or Superman. The Übermensch is the individual who transcends conventional morality and forges their own ethical framework. This figure embodies strength, creativity, and independence, rejecting both the herd mentality of slave morality and the brute force of mere domination. Instead, the Übermensch exemplifies a dynamic balance of power and wisdom, using their freedom to cultivate personal excellence and to live authentically. Modern-day examples of master morality in action can be seen in iconic innovators such as Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. These figures do not wait for permission or follow traditional paths. They disrupt industries and challenge norms with bold visions and uncompromising will. Their ability to create new realities, values, and technologies illustrates Nietzsche's idea of value creation through strength and vision. However, Nietzsche also offers a cautionary note. Master morality, taken to extremes, can devolve into tyranny, oppression, and destruction. The unchecked assertion of power without wisdom or ethical restraint risks becoming despotic. This warning underscores the necessity of balance, embracing power and creativity without descending into callousness or cruelty. Ultimately, Nietzsche's radical view invites us to rethink morality as a dynamic interplay between power and value creation. It encourages the cultivation of strength tempered by intelligence, the courage to transcend imposed limitations, and the wisdom to wield power responsibly. In this balance lies the potential for true freedom and self-mastery, an invitation not to mere domination, but to the flourishing of individual greatness. How to play the power game. Wisely, power is often misunderstood as a tool for cruelty or domination, but true power is about strategic strength rather than hurting others. Playing the power game wisely means prioritizing strategy over cruelty, knowing when to assert yourself, when to yield, and how to navigate complex social dynamics with finesse. It's about winning without unnecessary collateral damage, preserving relationships, and maintaining your integrity. Successful players of power share key psychological traits: ambition, cunning, and selective empathy. Ambition drives the desire to move forward and achieve goals. Cunning allows for creative problem-solving and strategic thinking, while selective empathy lets you understand others' motivations without losing yourself in their emotions. This balance equips you to influence situations without becoming manipulative or cold-hearted. Avoiding traps is essential. Power games are filled with hidden pitfalls, manipulation, false alliances, and distractions designed to derail your progress. Recognizing common patterns of behavior and manipulation helps you stay one step ahead. Equally important is balancing your ambition with integrity. Being overly ruthless can alienate allies and create enemies, while blind idealism can leave you vulnerable. Wise players blend their drive with a strong ethical compass. Self-mastery is the cornerstone of wise power. Knowing when to advance or retreat, when to speak out or stay silent, is crucial. Silence can be a weapon as powerful as words, and timing can make all the difference between gaining advantage or losing ground. Cultivating this self-awareness and discipline means constantly reading the room and adapting your approach to the shifting landscape. Adopting the Übermensch mindset, inspired by Nietzsche, reframes power as freedom, not something you ask for, but something you seize by building yourself up and creating value. This mindset encourages creation over destruction, growth over dominance. Power, in this sense, is an expression of your highest self, achieved through continuous self-overcoming. Remember, you don't have to be ruthless to succeed in the power game. You just have to be wise. Wisdom in power means using your strength thoughtfully, acting with intention, and maintaining your humanity while pursuing your ambitions. With this approach, you become not just powerful, but respected and enduringly influential. In the complex game of power, it's often the worst people who come out on top, not because they are inherently better, but because the rules favor strategy, ambition, and calculated risk over naive fairness and passivity. Power itself is neutral, as Nietzsche observed. It is neither good nor evil in essence, but defined entirely by how it is wielded. This understanding challenges us to rethink our relationship with power, not as something to fear or condemn, but as a tool to be mastered. To navigate this landscape successfully, you must first understand the rules of the game. Recognize that power is not given. It is earned through wise decisions and self-mastery. Control over others begins with control over yourself. your desires, fears, and impulses. Only then can you move deliberately, rather than react blindly. Ultimately, true power is not dominance over others, but freedom. Freedom from limitations, illusions, and the need to wait for permission. It is the ability to chart your own course and live authentically on your own terms. This is the power that transforms lives. So, the question remains: are you ready to take control of your own power? To step beyond passivity and claim the freedom that comes with mastery? The choice is yours.